Do we care about this? Apparently Contra made a post on Israel-Palestine. I might read it. I don't know. Watch this for a second. I'll be back 1 second.
Contra drama? Dude, I don't want to. It's so bad. It's so bad. Everyone's already dunking on her and they're all already right. Big Joel's thread is the best critique. Okay, I haven't seen Big Joel posting. I haven't seen what he's been saying. What has he been saying? It's on Blue Sky? Oh my god. Of course he would. ContraPoints recently made a statement on Palestine. I find this point most interesting. That was really the only outcome of the outrage. Nothing plus slightly hurting Kamala Harris. Changed perspectives. Things to do. Don't have an axe to grind with Natalie. Good job reading. It's just so dumb. Like the problem fundamentally is that Contra, I don't think, has a good temperament for the social demands of being an online public figure who discusses politics. That doesn't mean that the videos are bad or whatever. They're not. It just means that, like, you get a lot of backlash. You get a lot of hate. And I think that, you know, it's like a weakness of heart, weakness of mind kind of thing. If you're put into positions where you feel like you're very emotionally pressured, that can cook your brain a little bit. That can push you in a bad direction. I'm not clued in. She put out this like rambling narcissistic post about how she's anti-genocide in Gaza, but the reason she hasn't talked about it is because it's depressing and glib, and she feels like the left hasn't done anything productive by bringing attention to it, and it's the left's fault and the left's problem, and blah, blah, blah. I'll just... So many leftists feel betrayed because I haven't made a video on Palestine. Do they actually want a ContraPoints video about Palestine? Will they be happy if I get in the bath and pour milk on a mannequin of Benjamin Netanyahu? No. I have posted about Gaza occasionally and have quietly given money to Palestinian aid orgs. But what I think what leftists really want is for me to join their chorus of anger. They sense some hesitation on my part and are judging me very harshly on my presumed opinions. I'd rather be judged on my actual opinions, so here they are. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. Chapter 1, Doom. The week after October 7th, it was clear the mood among Israeli leaders and civilians was overwhelmingly kill or be killed, existential panic, and unstoppable lust for revenge. It reminded me of the U.S. after 9/11. There was no reasoning or protesting them out of it. Nor was it politically feasible for the U.S. to withdraw aid to Israel on a time frame that would make a difference. Man, it's been like 2 years now. It would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. Even in the best-case scenario, it would have taken years, so there was a sense of futility. But worse, Chapter 2, Misery. Oh, the misery. The leftist pro-Palestine movement quickly decided that their primary goal was not merely opposition to the genocide, but opposition to Zionism in general. That is, opposition to the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. And here they decided to draw the line separating decent people from genocidal fascists, which had the following consequences. It shrunk the coalition. Zionist is a very broad category. Most Jews are Zionists. Anyone who supports a two-state solution is a Zionist. Mabdani. Why wouldn't you visit Israel after becoming mayor of New York City? Oh, I don't have to debunk this, do I? Anyone who watches me understands why this is really bad. What she's saying is like arguing against the Holocaust without arguing against Nazis. Well, it's like arguing against the Holocaust without arguing against Lebensraum, right? The genocide in Gaza is a direct product of Zionism. Zionism is the reason why they were in an open-air concentration camp. It's the reason Hamas exists. It's the reason there are walls with automated turrets that shoot people when they come near. It's the reason why in the West Bank there are roads that only Jews can use. It's Zionism is the reason for all of this. Like, the Holocaust didn't happen because the people in Germany, the Nazis, said, well, we should just do one, right? It was the consequence of an underlying ideology that demanded the eradication of other groups as a way of expressing the supremacy of their own. Do you think supporting a two-state solution is Zionism? If so, there's a difference. So unfortunately, she's providing really bad analysis. The people who I know who have advocated for a two-state solution have done so as a way of addressing the immediate harm of Gaza being essentially like an occupied sub-territory of Israel, not a long-term goal. Because obviously, if you implemented a two-state solution, you would then still have a Jewish ethno-state. Like, that wouldn't change the fact that Israel, say in the West Bank, or however you drew the lines, right? Israel would still be, in law, Jewish supremacist. Like, the term a Jewish state is a dog whistle, right? Like when white supremacists say they want America to be a white country, America is already plurality white. What they mean by that, obviously, is an ethno-state. Like, duh. If a member of the AfD says they want Germany to remain a German state, like, let's not be stupid, you know what they mean. Even if they don't mean only, like, ethnic...
Just anybody that says ethno-state or anybody that says, like, Jewish supremacy, because, like, that's not what any of this means. It's, this is just analysis done by people who are, like, very clearly part of the West and have never considered a frame of reference outside of their own. They're incapable of actually understanding anything outside of a very white, Western, imperialistic, ironically enough, perspective. Like, you can have ethno-states without thinking that you're like a racially superior people. There are multiple Arab states in the Middle East that like explicitly call out like religion or Arabness in their founding documents, in their constitutions. The idea that like Jews think they're superior and that's why they want an ethno-state is stupid. It's such a baseless, stupid thing to say. It's like it so immediately makes it clear that you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
German people would be there. What they're talking about is a legal and social prioritization of those groups. Obviously, this is untenable. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. But at the very least...
Like, this comment is so worthless. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. Like, that's a stat... Like, this is the equivalent of a white person saying... like, I think all forms of equity or, wealth redistribution are unfair. There should be a flat tax and everybody should keep their own stuff. I think that all forms of unfairness are bad. And so wealthy people shouldn't be taxed more than poor people. Everyone should pay the exact, like, it's just on its face, it's stupid. When you say there should be no ethno-states at all, and then you have a region where every single state is like, massively favoring a single ethnicity, and they're de facto ethno-states, and then they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I agree. And let's use this argument to go destroy the one state that we want to like aggressively change the ethnicity of. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of like a stupid point, right? Nobody's threatening the ethnic demographics of any of the surrounding states. It's only one. So when you say, well, ethno-states are bad, but everyone else gets to be a de facto ethno-state, it's like, well, this is stupid.
At least a two-state solution would take the pressure off, right? It would, in the immediate sense, free the Palestinians from being completely subjugated to Israeli power. So if a person believes in a two-state solution as an immediate harm reduction thing, I don't think that's Zionist. If a person believes in a two-state solution as a long-term goal in which Israel remains a Jewish ethno-state, that would be a problem.
Like when people like Vaush, and I don't know if Vaush is just like a huge like Islamic dick suck or whatever, but when you say that like anything that protects the ethnic identity of the Jewish state is bad, what you are saying, they don't want to own this, but what you're saying is that like the ethnic Jewish state should be destroyed and it should become another Arab state. Because if you concede that it shouldn't be there should be no ethnic protections for the makeup of the country, then you're saying that there's an infinite right of return for all of the Palestinians, of which there's an arbitrarily 5, 6, 7 million defined as refugees. Every single one of them gets to go back to Israel proper. All of them get to vote. Jews become a minority there. And then whatever logically follows from that. But it's probably going to be, if not anything else, a mass exodus of the Jewish people there back to Brooklyn, I guess, where they want them all to go. Right? It's stupid.
I think that political dynamic would still produce things like this genocide, because you would still have a highly militarized supremacist Jewish state right next to the new Palestinian state with US weapons, with far-right backing, like you get the point? It was politically infeasible. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state? I mean, withholding support, that would be a good start, I guess. Like maybe it would be more difficult for Israel to remain an ethno-state if they weren't backed by the most powerful country in the world who just agrees with everything they do and supports them.
Probably not that much more difficult.
Some kind of actual line in the sand rather than what Biden did, which was multiple red lines that he would lie about, and then when Israel did cross those red lines, nothing would happen. It would be a good start, right? Some kind of meaningful political opposition. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a genocide. I don't know.
Like this is why also, and this is why Contra's message was weak and pussy. I'm sorry. I love Contra, and I like that she tries to have a reasonable position. But like, you're already cucked if you want to say that like, okay, guys, they're doing a genocide. And like, one, no one's giving you any points for that. And two, it's retarded. It's retarded because if you really believe they're doing a genocide, then the only option is annihilation. It can't, like, how are you going to negotiate with a whole country that's decided to genocide somebody? There's no negotiations to be had. These guys are doing genocide and apartheid and ethnic cleansing. Like, why would you ever negotiate with a state like that? The only option is annihilation. And Vaush says it very clearly here, which is nice that he's honest about it, right? Oh, I wouldn't mind a total and utter collapse of Jewish society. But when Syria is collapsing, it's really bad. When Yemen is collapsing, it's really bad. When any of like the surrounding Arab states are collapsing, it's really bad. But for Zionism, that's the one that absolutely needs to fucking collapse. That's where we need the regime change. It's like, really?
Let's see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a genocide.
Also, this is why Israelis listen to leftists and they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we do support Trump. Why the fuck would we ever? Or if you're even like Jews in New York looking at Mamdani, when people like this are speaking for the left, it's like, oh, okay, so you are basically like a Nazi when it comes to Jews, I guess, which is just a Nazi. So yeah, we have no desire to work with or listen to you or do anything with you because you are literally advocating for the complete and utter destruction of our society. So it's,
I don't know. Feel like there are worse things. Like if a country is doing like, listen, okay, I supported the UN intervention into Serbia, the bombing that we did of Serbia, and what Serbia was doing to the Albanians was nothing even remotely close to what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. So my line for when should UN warplanes drop, or NATO, sorry, not UN, NATO, when should NATO warplanes drop bombs to pacify the aggressors is clearly way the lower than what Israel is doing right now. I don't know how the you can support NATO intervention in Serbia but not support intervention into Israel. I think the UN should occupy Israel. Get some blue helmets down there for 100 years for all I care. Jesus. And stop giving them weapons. Stop giving Israel more weapons. Jesus. And then there's this wonderful line. As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. That's really cool. Don't support desegregation because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Vietnam War because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Iraq War because it's not immediately feasible. This is just you territory. This is like unsalvageable. It always, at the end of the day, people, weaker people than me, I should say, always circle back around to directing their hate and orienting their politics around aggression towards people that they dislike. And the group of people that have given Contra the most shit for previous livery have been leftists. So it comes back around to that. Anyway, yeah, this logically doesn't work. Like, armchair psychoanalysis aside, this just logically doesn't work. Basically, every progressive cause starts out as or more doomed than opposition to Israel today. Everything from gay marriage to Contra support for trans people. Like, right now, trans rights are looking pretty bleak in the West. Do I waver? No. I think we should put our foot down and hold firm on all of it, including, participation in sports. I'm consistent. If every progressive acted the way you're recommending leftists act with Palestine, consistently on every issue, nothing would ever get done. Also, right now, American support for Israel is lower than America's opposition to MLK. Or I guess what I should say is opposition to Israel is a more popular position than support for MLK during much of the civil rights movement. It introduced dangerous ambiguities. The vagueness of Zionism as a political Satan enables all kinds of rhetorical abuses. On one hand, right-wing Israelis hold up all anti-Zionist protests as existentially threatening and inherently anti-Semitic. On the other hand, there's a long history of anti-Semites using the term Zionist in deliberately equivocal ways. Yeah, sure, I don't really know what that has to do with the genocide, though. Like, there are some people who do that, and it's bad, and they should be called out. I don't really... Like, people will dog whistle to take an existing cause and manipulate it to serve their bigotry. Yeah, sure, I don't really see what that has to do with the underlying point. Anti-Semites are happy for the opportunity to misappropriate the now popular anti-Zionist label to legitimize their agenda, and many people are not informed enough about anti-Semitism to recognize when this is actually happening. These problems are mutually reinforcing. But there's a difference. See, it is the Zionists themselves who disingenuously conflate Zionism and Semitism, whereas it's the opportunist Nazis who jump on the back of anti-Zionist protests to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity that is being created by the Zionists, by the way, and weaponize it in the service of their own ends. Or in other words, the Zionists are doing the bad thing. Whereas with regard to anti-Zionism, it's another group that's trying to co-opt the language. What exactly are we meant to do about that? Or to put it another way, how could you ever criticize Israel without anti-Semites trying to take advantage of it? I mean...
Well, one thing is you could start by saying, I wouldn't mind the complete and utter collapse of the entire society. I mean, that could be like a start,
I think that you should do everything you can to excise them from your movement, to make it clear what you mean, to be precise in your definitions. But how on earth could you do that? Zionists put so much effort into conflating Judaism and Israel. Like it's like their main thing. They shield themselves with it. So as a consequence, they make it very easy for Nazis and anti-Semites to, to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity. But what is the left meant to do about that, apart from being responsible when possible? It is, after all, like often young progressive Jewish people who are at the forefront of these anti-Zionist marches, like Jewish Voice for Peace, advocates against this old colonial ethno-state project. Chapter 3, Dread. The online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos and videos of dead Palestinian children. The main effect of this has been to create a population of people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. Palestinians share photos and videos. The Western left isn't in Gaza. The Palestinians take those videos and share them online because they don't want their suffering to be invisible. It's not really the left that's creating that media. It's Israel's creating, I suppose.
The media is created for you, though, right?
The subject of the media, but Palestinians are the ones documenting it. I don't understand this point. I fear this may be worse than useless. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are conceptually not the same, and conflating them is dangerous. But in practice, the way Israel is perceived does seep out into attitudes about Jews in general. I don't think Jews who feel isolated and wary in the current atmosphere are simply hysterical or hallucinating. Kind of a non-statement. As previously mentioned, there are anti-Semites who opportunistically take advantage of the anti-Israel, anti-Zionist protests, but what does that mean? Like, the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism is the policy of Zionists. Like, their goal is to do that. How do you turn this into an anti-left argument? Like, if you're so concerned about the conflation of these two ideas, why is every Zionist constantly screaming it from the rooftops? I would love it if they would stop. I don't think Zionism, to be honest with you, I don't think Zionism...
Like, and I know we don't care about the news anymore or anything that happens, but like, keep in mind that 2 Jewish people were murdered in, was it in D.C.? By a guy, who was saying, like, for Palestine. He just fucking murdered... yeah, but whatever, it is what it is.
Current form has much to do with Judaism at all. The underlying project is, of course, based in the Jewish homeland, Middle East, so on and so forth. But as a political project, the way it manifests, it seems to be largely like a corporate and American Christian.
I don't know why you're donating for. I know we'll never get it, and the bridge has been burned for years. But an IP debate between you and Vaush would feed family. He will never debate me on this. These people do not debate these topics. Israel Palestine is it's like a holy text to them. They're not going to debate it. They're not going to do apologetics for it. They just repeat the propaganda verbatim because they have no understanding of any of this issue. These are all slogans and talking points. You're listening to somebody Markov chaining together different phrases that he's heard about the region. He doesn't know fuck all about anything having to do here. But nobody that talks about this, so who the fuck cares?
Evangelical effort, where Jews are weaponized to further, or the identity of Jewish people and their needs or perceived needs are weaponized by oftentimes anti-Semitic right-wingers in an effort to promote certain cultural or economic causes, Like, it's not exactly a secret that AIPAC and the ADL and other groups aligned with Zionism are usually used as bludgeons against the left. Right? Yes, there's communal trauma and hypervigilance. Yes, there's disingenuous right-wing ghouls dismissing and censoring all criticism of Israel on the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. Wait, that's not disingenuous right-wing ghouls. That's the entire Zionist establishment. Literally, like, that is the playbook. It's not just the disingenuous right-wing ghouls. That's the entire, from Democrats, Republicans, that's the main strategy. Look at what they did to Mamdani. That's in no way like a niche strategy. There's also a valid fear of historical anti-Semitic patterns recurring, and that fear gives power to the right-wing Zionist claim that only Israel can keep Jews safe. Yeah, that's why Israel does this. Israel makes itself hateable on an international and local stage and conflates Judaism and Zionism and then does horrible things in the name of Judaism, allegedly in the name of Judaism. They do it for Zionism. And that does attract international condemnation, which they then use to fearmonger to further legitimize their project. But all of this is the strategy of the right. Why are we pretending that the left is doing this? Like, this entire essay post is pointing out things Zionists do, but then she turns around and says, oh my God, it's like the FD signifier video. I'm getting flashbacks. They don't want solutions. They don't want to stop the genocide. They just want to endlessly critique the genocide. Oh God, I'm being sent back. Does this mean Israel should not be criticized and sanctioned? Absolutely not. But it's something I don't want to risk contributing to if not outweighed by tangible benefits. So I approach the issue cautiously. But there have been benefits to the widespread left condemnation of Israel.
Yeah, what's that? Republicans getting elected, Donald Trump being the president now.
Democrats have been polarized against it very effectively, which is important. Like, if you keep in mind, man, the Vietnam War went on for 7 years? Lyndon B. Johnson lost for re-election because people criticized his handling, and then the war went on for another 4 years or something. I
think Vietnam was longer than that for us, wasn't it? Vietnam, U.S. involvement, Wikipedia. We were there for a long fucking time. That was wild. The overall war was about 20 years. I don't remember when the U.S. was, or how long the U.S. was involved.
Nothing good happens immediately, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all, but you always have to try. There were probably so many people back in the 1960s who thought the civil rights movement was a waste of time. MLK, you're only polarizing people against you, the white moderates.
I love how every single thing can be justified with this line of logic. Like, yes, dogs should be able to be married to humans. If humans and dogs want to marry, that's fine. I know you're saying it's worthless now, but people said the same thing about MLK. I know you're saying that we have no chance of succeeding, but people said the same thing about civil rights. I know you're saying that it hasn't been like this for however many years, so it'll never happen. People said the same thing about women's suffrage, right? Like, it's such a stupid argument.
Brits don't like the fact that you're stirring up trouble, all in good time. Quit like throwing up a fuss, I don't know. I just don't. Lyndon B. Johnson did not run again. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Okay. Sorry. It wasn't Lyndon B. Johnson lost re-election. It was Nixon won in large part off criticism of LBJ's handling because he used that against the Democrats. And also he and Kissinger committed treason by prolonging the war to keep LBJ from ending it early. Yeah. Where's the graph? I'm looking for Cassie again. Cassie, you need to stop posting so much. You need to only post the things that I remember you posting. Why can't I find it? God, I'm bad at this. I'm trying to find the polling on Democrats' opinions on Israel. Look at this. The shift, just 12% of Dem voters sympathize more with Israelis than Palestinians. U.S. voters were asked whether their sympathies lie with the Palestinians or the Israelis. 37% said the Israelis, 32% said the Palestinians, 31% did not offer an opinion.
Wow, we're so close to solving Israel-Palestine. If we just have a few more Hamas propaganda videos of people getting raped and murdered. Yes.
Yeah. Among Republicans, Israel remains popular. Among Democratic voters, Israel's reputation is in shambles. Just 12% of them sympathize more with Israelis. 60% sympathize more with Palestinians. Dude! It's crazy. This is unparalleled. In less than 2 years, a seismic shift. So when Contra says that there's been no consequence of the left making this an issue worth planting your feet on the ground for, I disagree. I think your criticism should lie with the Democrats for continuing to do a very unpopular support, for continuing to support Israel when it's really unpopular with their base. Like, at what point does the blame shift from the left? Like, the left has very successfully made this a generational issue. So at what point do you turn to the Democratic establishment and you say, well, it's now on you for not acquiescing? And if your answer to that is, well, it's never on the Democratic establishment because they were never going to acquiesce, then why believe in politics? Why then never advocate for anything because the system will never change? Then why talk about politics at all? Why not just like roll around in the mud like pigs? Like at that point, is it me or does this reek of privilege? This reeks of privilege largely, I think, because it's very me focused. It's very like solipsistic. It's very narcissistic. I'm armchair psychologizing, but this is very much like me. You know, I don't know. If people are upset you haven't made a statement on Palestine, all you really have to do is say, I don't really want to cover that topic. It's heavy and you should all know what I believe, but to be clear, genocide for Israel. Like, that's not difficult. It shouldn't be controversial to say the country doing a genocide. I don't know why, like, that's... I just
Protesters in a tense standoff. Good evening, everybody. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. Thanks for being with us. I'm Marla Tejas.
I'm Christine Devine. New tonight, federal agents clash with protesters during an ICE raid at a Ventura County cannabis farm.
The operation at Glass House Farms near Camarillo today turned chaotic. Fox 11's Ed Lascos live there with the very latest tonight. Ed, has it quieted down at all?
Yeah. Well, let's give you a look real quick, Marla, with Frank, give you an idea. This is Laguna Road here. It's the cross off Las Posas. This is a motorcade of some of the workers from Glass House Farms leaving, trying to talk to some of them. They were saying they were told by a lot of the folks inside not to say anything. These are the folks, obviously, who haven't been detained by the federal agents as part of this latest immigration raid. And the crowd offering support here, clapping to a lot of the folks going by. But all of this, it's been playing out hour by hour, a tense situation targeting this legalized, and I say it's legalized there in California, a marijuana growing facility, a large sprawling complex here in the heart of Ventura County's farming district. In any event, tensions rising here. Look at some of this standoff from earlier. Watch. Yeah, very tense situation here as the federal agents moved in around noontime, and then the protesters moved in to not let it be so easy as it all went down, yelling at them, trying to make it difficult, trying to block some of the military vehicles going through. Federal agents responding with gas, apparent tear gas. Also, some of the protesters saying they were hit with some paintballs, rubber bullets going through. For their part, some of the video also showed some of the agents also ducking some water bottles and rocks being thrown at them by the protesters. So a very tense situation here as Glass House Farms, the target of this immigration raid, as a federal warrant had the agents move in here to not target the farm because of the marijuana situation. Again, legal in California, but targeting them, alleging they are housing illegal aliens. That brought the confrontation, and that brought a lot of relatives here from workers inside.
I wanted to ask, how can't you believe in child trafficking when government contractors like DynCorp stayed a contractor and got bought out? I don't know. I missed that episode of Alex Jones.
Worried about what's been happening. Listen to their response.
There are hundreds of people who work at this glass house facility. From what I last heard is that maybe somewhere around like 40 or 50. I did see vans, white vans, exit this morning, and we have seen multiple ICE vans leaving through multiple dirt roads that can be carrying up to more than 50 people at this point. We're all illegals. If they come for one of us, they come for all of us, you know. And this is, you think about the U.S. stole the land from Mexico. They, you know, why do people come here from all over the world? Because the U.S. messed up their country more than it has done here. These are human beings, you know. Trump and the regime are going after people with no due process, you know, without the rule of law. They're just kidnapping people, and now they're sending them to foreign countries and concentration camps like Alligator Alcatraz.
And just some of the reaction that's playing out here as this standoff goes on. From Skyfox, we had a view of, looked like dozens of the workers from inside this farm that were being detained, evidently lined up one by one, waiting to be moved out, processed. We also have a lot of first responders from Ventura County here, making sure no one gets hurt. There's been some shoving. There was actually an incident earlier where we come back out live. One of the folks in the area came by. It was a man, and he was supporting ICE, and he was met with the crowd to kind of rough them up basically, and he ran off. Had no choice. But tension's very high here as this group leaves. Again, some of the workers from the farm inside, the ones obviously not being detained, being let go now, let out finally after a long...
Why? I don't have the volume bar again. What do we do to get it back? I keep forgetting the setting. Flags, Chrome. Oh, it's this. It's disabled. Does it need to be enabled?
I think this is an important point because...
Nope. It needs to be disabled. Wait. Enable using media keys to control active media sessions. Was this the one we were changing?
Something, and they could say it has to come from somewhere.
Stop! Oh, there it is.
Do not panic! Do not run! Do not run! Stay calm!
Baby girl grows micro penis after absorbing testosterone from laying on her father's chest. Oh shit, that's a House episode.
Take a look at this video right here. It appears a protester fired some kind of gun at federal agents. This happened this afternoon. It was a really chaotic scene at the time. A lot of smoke was being launched at the protesters. And again, it appears a protester fired back with that weapon. It looks like he fired at least a couple of times. We have not heard about any agents being hurt.
Do you think it was an airsoft gun, or I feel like if it was a gun, we'd hear there'd be other video or gunshots or something. Is there other video of this? Destiny, do you have any response to Vaush's last point there? A collapsing approval for Israel among the Dem base seems like a decent starting point for an argument that Dem leaders should start shifting their messaging, not to the insane progressive free Palestine, but at least opening up the conversation to being more critical of Israel. Sure, if you want to be, that's fine. It's just, this is retarded. It's not fun to even think about, like, changing messaging to a bunch of fucking retards that literally couldn't find either of these countries on a fucking map. Like, it is the most retarded issue to virtue signal on ever. And what the people, like the progressives and everything, are basically advocating for are a second Holocaust. Whether they realize it or not, and that's the most easily defensible point of the world. They don't know the history of the region. They don't know what they're even asking for. They don't know what the outcome of what they're asking for would be. The unhinged, like, collapsing of every single social and geopolitical issue into just Gaza is fucking retarded. It is the most virtue signaled, like, white privileged, wealthy, cucked position in the fucking world to have. So, like, should Demons change their messaging on it? Yeah, I guess probably, if it becomes like a thing that you have to politically message on. But like I'm not gonna sit here and engage with the hypothetical of, like, what do a bunch of fucking retarded white wealthy kids who've never seen a person like this entire life, who have the most strong positions on a thing that are so fucking retarded? I don't care. Like, if he wants to argue about it, I'll gladly argue about it. But they won't. These people will always avoid challenging conversation on this because they know fuck all, literally nothing about anything going on, right? Even what he said before about how even what he said before was a reversal. I bet you go through his own fucking retarded clips on this. He's like, this genocide was way worse than what was going on with the Bosnian stuff. Why is he saying that? Probably, or the Serbian stuff. Why is he saying that? Because of the numbers? Like, now the numbers matter, but before, when you would point out, how many people died in the Syrian civil war? What, like 500,000? How many people died in Yemen? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands? Like, but that, well, no, it's not about the numbers, it's about the genocide. But now that the numbers for the genocide are higher, well, now we go back to the numbers? It's bullshit. All these arguments are fucking bullshit. It's like retard after retard after retard for all of this.
To vehemently protest what's going on here, and just in the last few minutes, Customs and Border Patrol helicopter has entered the scene here. They are landing in the middle of the farm as we speak. It does appear that they were not planning to be here as long as they have been.
The next Dem that comes in should just executive order away as many guns as they can, and they go raid states that have disagreements and opinions about it.
Here as long as they have been, and so this helicopter that you're looking at here, guys, apparently just made a run over to Van Nuys Airport for some cases of water.
Why do you keep saying white, though? Nearly every Muslim in existence also agrees with Vaush 10 times harder. Because the Muslims that agree, if you go and talk to real Muslims, not 19-year-old kids on college campus, like 5th generation, I'm a cultural Muslims that are fucking retarded and they know how to pronounce like 2 things in whatever their parents' mother's tongue is, right? Actual Muslims will be honest with you and they'll tell you what their goals are. They'll tell you what their desires are. No, if you go to the Middle East and you ask anybody who has strong feelings about this, they're not going to give you these cucked like, oh, we believe in a 2-state solution where everybody has equal one-state solution. They're going to say, get these fucking Jews the fuck out of here. Get them the goddamn fuck out of this place. We want them the fuck out. They're not going to give you these weird, half-measured, cucked opinions that these fucking 75 IQ knuckle-dragging retards, okay, like Vaush are going to give you. Though they're more realistic and honest about what they actually believe. Fuck, even if you poll two-state in Israel, Palestine before October 7th, nobody wants a two-state solution. Nobody there even wants it, okay? Nobody wants it. Right? It's the difference between talking to fake Muslims or white people, depending on what he wants to be at the time. Hassan, who's like, oh no, they don't use human shields. It's actually Israel that uses human shields. They would never do that. And then you go there and you talk to the actual people in Gaza or Hamas and they're like, human shields. No, we're not human shields. We're by default, all of us are fighters and warriors for Islam. We can't even be human shields because every single civilian is committed to the global jihad that we're constantly calling for the cause of defending Palestine and all of Islam against the Jewish invaders. So if you want to call them human shields, that's fine. But every single one of us is dedicated. Like they're making excuses that they don't even make for themselves. It's fucking stupid. And I don't care. I don't care about it. We're looking at helicopters right now. The government's coming to take my weed.
Pieces of water, which is what they're bringing into the scene here. So there are a whole team of ICE agents at the farm. There are other agents down there as well as the National Guard police standing guard and protecting Laguna Road as this enforcement action takes place right here, going into hour number 4 this afternoon. Again, a major situation transpiring here.
Oh yeah, this should be like Joe Rogan's nightmare, right? The weed, not the weed. The metadata shows that the Epstein footage was modified. Oh no. Do I have a Wired account? Is this even necessarily contradictory? The DOJ described it as the full raw surveillance footage from a camera position nearby. The release, but instead of putting, what was this? Okay. Rather than being a direct export from the prison surveillance system, the footage was modified. The file appears to have been assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website, where it was presented as raw footage. What if it exports video like every 6 hours or something? Or what if the file caps every so many hours? It's still quote-unquote raw edited footage, but you have to stitch together the separate videos, no? New Hassan LSF thread. Why do you preach about the importance of institutions and then ignore the world's largest ones on the topic of Gaza? It makes you look really stupid. I don't ignore them. I read into them more than any other fucking retarded slop fuck YouTubers content that you consume on the issue. Which is, again, why, if you want to have any of these people step into the fucking ring, I will gladly discuss every single one of these topics with them. Okay? I've put in my hours on this fucking cuck shit. This is fucking retarded. Okay. Okay. My guess is the thing probably exports. It probably exports videos that are of a certain length, and they had to stitch together the videos, and then they might have done a compression on them, maybe to upload them because the raw footage is too large, so they compress with some algorithm, maybe. I mean, like, this is whatever. Nothing is ever coming about that Epstein stuff. I said it 2 years ago when we looked into it, and I'm continuing to say it, and it will always be the case. There is no fucking client list. There is no magical ring of pedophile billionaire politicians that are running around raping kids for fun. Doesn't exist. It's not there. Get mad, stay mad, be mad. It will never come out because it doesn't exist.
Feasible. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state? I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. And at this point, it's like it turns into just your own personal, incredibly petty, incredibly self-centered attitude about what you think the online left is doing. It turns into just like looking at an issue that is black and white and saying, well, it's the worst crime that you can ever do. Genocide, but the leftists are just like being crazy about it. Like, this is just your...
Former Speaker of the House, K-Mac, is here. All right, let's just go back to the top. So the Secret Service almost got Trump killed. And no one gets fired. And some people, the top people, got promoted. What's that about?
That's unacceptable. You cannot have that behavior continue. Otherwise, it will unless you do something about it. They should all be removed, and you should make an example out of them. So the future...
Who should be removed? Wait.
Former Speaker of the House, K-Mac, is here. All right, let's just go back to the top. So the Secret Service almost got Trump killed. And
all the Secret Service people? Or?
And no one gets fired. And some people, the top people, got promoted. What's that about?
That's unacceptable. You cannot have that behavior continue. Otherwise, it will unless you do something about it. They should all be removed, and you should make an example out of them. So the future Secret Service knows this can never happen again. You cannot see a person on the roof. You can't run into the individual and think this can continue forward.
But why would they?
When you said that a Muslim in the Middle East would say what they really feel, when you look at people like Hassan or literally every Muslim that voted in the USA, didn't they literally vote third party because of God? These are American people that have been insanely Americanized. Hassan has absolutely zero connection to any fucking Muslim or Islamic culture or fucking anything whatsoever in any way, size, shape, or form. Hassan is a frat boy, white American dude who... That's it. Like, that's Hassan's entire identity. Just look at the way that he lives his life. He's the most, like, hyper-consumerized, Americanized. He's, like, the pinnacle. He represents, like, the best and worst of American integration of other people into a society. He's basically Donald Trump, like, of all the gaudy... Where is the... you know what? Fuck, where was it? I saw a clip earlier. I thought it was fucking funny.
Sorry. Yeah, how are you, man? Good to see you. And at the phase party, they...
Oh my God, bro. Shane, not one watch, but 2 watches. $600 t-shirt with a gold wristband and whatever the fuck this green piece of shit thing. I got no idea what the fuck that is. How many accessories do you have? Hassan, do you know why you need to watch all that shit? Do you know why you gotta change your accessories every day? Because there is nothing of substance beneath the surface. I have one accessory, and I wear it every day. It is this gold chain. I have worn this every day for, I believe, 2.5 years, because something happened 2.5 years. It was one of the greatest days of my life. So I got this to celebrate. It is $6,000. I wear it every single fucking day. However, you, Hassan, have to buy hundreds of thousands of different outfits and clothes and accessories and surgeries and transplants and chemicals you're all injecting into your body just so nobody understands how little beneath the surface there actually is. It truly is a shame. Guys, we're a hater right now, man. We really are. We are a grade A hater right now.
Like there was a guy that was even older than me. Yeah. Okay. And he was like, I think he was like a magician or something. Awesome. And he had like crazy.
Oh my God! And 2 golden rings. There's more. Every time he moves, he spawns like 8 other pieces of gold. What the fuck? How much do you need to hide your insecurities? Holy! Don't tell me there's more on his other hand.
Or he was a more on.
Oh my. There's more on the other hand. No, guys. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 rings on right now. He has 4. So a chain 4 rings, sunglasses, indoors. These are not glasses, they're tinted. Okay? As well as he's wearing 2 watches at the same time with a golden ring around his wrist and another green strap. Holy fuck. Like, bro is a walking jewelry store. How the fuck did none of these terrorists that he's, like, supports rob him when they see him? How are they not doing that?
The more honorable content creator.
It's fucking cringe.
Promote the guys that did the security of the Butler Field. That tells me that those guys know something or did something or they're being taken care of now. Just shut up and we'll give you a raise.
I don't know the fact. Like, if you surveyed the field, you surveyed the field. But if you were there and you noticed that individual on the roof and you did nothing, no excuses. You're gone.
All right, well, they're not gone. They got unpaid leave for 4 weeks, so something is not right.
Unpaid leave? They got a vacation during winter. These people work hard at it, you know. And it really goes to the point, who was training them? Who was supervising them that they failed to do the job they were told to do or trained to do, or were not trained to do it itself? You'd have to evaluate the entire service because that same behavior could be happening on the trail with somebody else.
Yeah,
so you've got to correct it.
Trained them, and she just wanted all women working for them, and we know how that turned out. Ryan Ruth had help. He had 2 people that sold him the rifle and then deleted their text.
Why would you delete a text when you sell a rifle for cash? You think something's going to happen?
Now, you are a California kid, and you know a little bit about Ventura County. We're looking live.
Somebody else.
Yeah, Cheeto.
So you've got to correct it.
Trained them, and she just wanted all women working.
That same behavior could be happening on the trail with somebody else.
Yeah, Cheeto.
So you've got to correct it.
Trained them, and she just wanted all women working for them, and we know how that turned out. Ryan Ruth had help. He had 2 people that sold him the rifle and then deleted their text.
Why would you delete a text when you sell a rifle for cash? You think something's going to happen?
Now, you are a California kid, and you know a little bit about Ventura County. We're looking live at pictures right now. There's a big standoff because the feds raided a cannabis farm, and all of a sudden a bunch of defenders came in and encircled the feds. It looks like a Mexican standoff at a cannabis farm, and if anything catches fire, it's going to be one happy standoff.
That's true. Now, I know a lot of people probably report these are people protesting ICE. That could be, but it could be a lot of people just loving cannabis.
Save the farm! Don't touch that farm!
I mean, you may see Cheech and Chong out there. I know this could be up in smoke.
So you've seen an escalation of people protesting ICE. You know, first it was, I'll film you. Then it was riots. Now they're going to the actual raid sites and trying to obstruct the apprehension. Yeah. This can't lead to a good place.
No, you have to respect the rule of law, but it's also being encouraged by the other side of the aisle. They literally said we need violence against it. They are saying that. I think even Hakeem got asked the question the other day. He would not denounce it. If your leadership will not denounce this type of activity where individuals are being shot when they're upholding the law, that has got to stop.
So
you are responsible too.
We call Hakeem Hips Don't Lie Hakeem because he photoshopped himself.
Did you see that?
Have you ever photoshopped yourself?
No.
Okay.
I may have cut the picture so I don't show the full belly, but I don't Photoshop myself.
You know Hakeem. Is he the kind of guy, his little vein?
Yeah, he can't make a decision. The real leader.
Okay. Migrants deported from U.S. to Salvadoran prison remain under U.S. control, Salvadoran officials tell UN. The administration in March agreed to pay $6 million for El Salvador to house 300 migrants. Jesus. Dear Counsel, the court takes judicial notice of a report on enforced or involuntary disappearances from the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights Working Group on enforced or involuntary disappearances, which was filed by the petitioners, plaintiffs, and JGG v. Trump. In the UN report, the government of El Salvador responded to the UN's inquiry opened by 4 families asking about the disappearance of their family members, each of whom are Venezuelan nationals allegedly deported from the United States to El Salvador as part of the mass deportations that have taken place since March 15, 2025. In its response to the UN, the government of El Salvador states, the actions of the states of El Salvador have been limited to the implementation of a bilateral cooperation mechanism with another state through which it has facilitated the use of the Salvadoran prison infrastructure for the custody of persons detained within the scope of the justice system and law enforcement of that other state. In status reports submitted pursuant to this court's June 5th, 2025 order, defendants have repeatedly skirted this court's directive to provide information regarding the steps they have taken and will take to facilitate the return of Christian to the United States. Instead, defendants have repeatedly made oblique references to their request of assistance from the U.S. Department of State, which has entered into negotiations to facilitate Christian's return and assume responsibility on behalf of the U.S. government for diplomatic discussion. Assuming the government of El Salvador provided truthful information to the UN, no diplomatic discussion should be required here because El Salvador has no sovereign interest in Christians' continued confinement in that country. This court directs defendants to explain their position that diplomatic discussions involving the DOS are required to facilitate Christian's return. Damn. Well, will anything happen? Or will nothing happen? You have to watch a clip of Stavros making fun of Hassan for trying to be young? Link it.
came here on our statutory authority to be able to visit this detention center. We were denied access citing safety reasons. We asked then, and we've actually, so for the record, we've been waiting for about 2 hours to get in. According to the statute, it's a shall, not a may. We're able to come unannounced without providing notice. They said we didn't give notice. There was a press release that went out at 11:30 that we were coming here. The GOP welcomed us, so they knew we were coming. It is interesting that it was called unsafe when just hours ago that the President of the United States and Republican lawmakers were allowed to have access to this facility. It is also concerning that there are human beings, detainees in here, that if it's unsafe for us to be in here, how is it safe for them to be present? This could not and should not be happening. And I believe, and I think we all can agree, that what's happening, and there's more than likely any.
Yes, mid rolls.
Get official anime art.
It's just like it's a giant tent with fences and beds. I don't understand. And they have a sign for this? Oh my god. We saw that already.
True, you're washed, bitch.
Oh, true.
You're fucking.
You're the same age as me.
Yeah,
Aren't
but
you older than me?
But I accept it. You're trying to be young. I see your big ass pants.
But look at my fucking beard. I have white
dude.
beard hairs.
No, you're. What about this fucking chain link bullshit?
What do
dude?
you mean?
You know what
that's
you're
hot.
doing. You know what
I
you're
can
fucking
be-
doing. I accept who I am. You're gonna pretend to be young so long. It's gonna be so fucking. Pathetic.
But I just I can't.
When you're 40,
Dude,
when it comes back around, and you're wearing leggings.
I went to a phase party, which is already.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
exactly.
I rest my case, folks.
Good. I went to a phase party.
Good to see you.
And at the phase party, they there was a guy that was even older than me.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was I think he was a magician or something.
Awesome.
And he had crazy.
So
hair.
he was a more honorable content creator than you.
Yeah, for sure.
He provided more to
chair.
the.
I'm sorry, there's no other.
No, it's
I
fine.
can call him up and send another chair
No,
up
it's
here.
good.
But,
I'm practicing being
Why is this wearing so many jerseys recently? I don't know. Is this a thing now? Are young people wearing soccer jerseys?
It's a nice.
Okay.
It's
I'm hiding.
It is a nice frame, you know.
Yeah.
Cinematography wise, we have a little empty space up here.
I'm really small.
Yeah.
And you guys are really big.
Mexico beat America.
You guys are like my big brother.
Speed wears them.
We are huge, dude.
But
we're fucking jacked.
But I saw this guy and he's definitely in his 40s, maybe late 40s, and he's surrounded by these 20-year-olds, and I was like, if I'm ever that, I need to kill myself.
When you are that?
No, I will never be that.
When
I will
you are
never,
that?
I don't hide my age or anything. I always say I'm old, and also I have too many injuries to fucking even hide that I'm youthful in any capacity.
Sure.
Take
you
a
also
compliment, man.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
That's awful.
Anyway, Hassan's washed. He's pretending
Yeah.
he isn't.
Yeah.
You're an old bitch, but you're having trouble with it.
I'm old. I'm washed. I'm gracefully aging.
No, you're not.
I'm gracefully aging.
No, dude.
That's what I'm doing.
I can't wait to see you fucking pathetically try and keep up with trends your whole fucking life.
Oh my
It's
God.
gonna be awesome. You're doing fit pics at
I'm
42.
gonna be dressed like Brett
fucking
Gelman.
mirror selfies.
Yeah, dude.
You're literally you're cruising for a Gelman existence, dude.
It's like full circle because you used to dress really awesome, and then in the future you will also dress really awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the Brett Gelman.
You will be.
I'm gonna be the reverse Gelman, anti-Israel.
Or I don't know. I could also see you going the Depp route, wearing a lot of drapey stuff and rings, not quite Rick Owens, but
Yeah.
No.
No, we're not. We can't conceive of what the equivalent to that in 10 years. He will be doing it.
Oh my
God! He thinks he'll be like, oh no, I'm not doing rings or whatever. But he's gonna do whatever that thing is, and he's gonna think it's new. Those guys don't think they're lame. He's not gonna think he's lame, but he's gonna be such a fucking loser.
I have too many people in here that would rip my asshole apart if I were to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
you would think they were flirting with you. You would be old and be like, haha, just young chatters. We're all on the same page.
Look,
everyone who grows up has families. Dude, even Austin has like an adopted Korean son with his husband, and you're fucking still hanging on to your youth, dude.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. I promise you.
I know.
Chat, put a pin in it. 10 years from now, let's see what Hassan's doing. It's gonna be pathetic.
Well,
God damn. There's no reason for that. Jesus.
Recently, and now that I've been back in the US for about 48 hours and I've had the chance to process, I now feel like I'm at a space where I can speak about this without being highly emotional because I am not the victim in this situation. While I was in the villa, there were some posts that resurfaced from my past where I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term.
Oh, is this the chinky eyes person? How this blew up into such a huge thing. Holy shit. So this person was on Love Island? Is that like a reality TV show from America?
I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term. And before I get into the details,
And she was what, like, was she like 15? Because it was 10 years ago? I don't even know. I haven't kept up with this. Rephrase that. She was the one who said, like, when I use this makeup because it helps my chinky eyes or something. She said something like this. It was like 2015 or something. And then somebody found this comment, and now I guess her life is over. They got her.
I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly so sorry. I had no idea that the word held as much pain, as much harm, and came with the history that it did, or I never would have used it. I had no ill intention when I was using it, but that's absolutely no excuse.
Why not just say I did use it, and maybe I knew it was not okay, but it's because I was fucking retarded, because I was literally fucking 15 years old, and people say retarded shit when they're 15. Like, who cares? Oh my God.
Because intent doesn't excuse ignorance. It just doesn't. And I just need you to know that I am so sorry. But this is
Wait, somebody said no, it was 2024? Oh, if it was just a year ago, that's a little bit harder. Then you're supposed to say. I shouldn't have said that. That was dumb. Never mind. She said it in 2024 and 2015. Gotcha.
An apology video. This is an accountability video. I do want to hold my hands up and say that I take accountability for using the word, but I do want it to be known that I genuinely had no idea that it was a slur. I had no idea of its meaning, and it was
hot take. She knew. The thing is, there's two things that are pushing at this point. One is that, like, it's such an obvious, like, it's like a racially targeted thing about Asians having, slitted eyes and then saying these make my eyes look small and change. It's like, you must know, right? But then on the second thing, it's like, would she really be posting this on a public profile if she knew that was a rape? Like, there's no way, right? And I don't know which of those two countervailing forces. I don't know which one is more likely.
It wasn't until I made the public story post in 2024 when a follower of mine reached out to correct me and let me know that what I was saying was incredibly hurtful. It was a derogatory term. It was a slur. And in that moment, I was embarrassed. I, of course, immediately deleted the post. It was a slur, incredibly hurtful. It was.
Oh my God. Did we just discover the incredibly rare person who thinks that somebody is doing something that is offensive without being aware of it and then sends them a DM and kind of like explains it instead of trying to do some crazy PR murder their entire family scheme?
Was a derogatory term. It was a slur. And in that moment,
What kind of people do you have to grow up around to know what that word means, but you have no idea if it was a slur? Bro, I don't even want to try to guess. I have no idea. There are words that I learned from my grandpa that I think are slurs that I didn't know. Like, I think, is Polak? Is that a slur for Polish people? My grandpa used to always say when we were like, if we were too slow doing things, like, oh, you're slow as a Polak or something, like stuff like that. I was like, oh, I guess it maybe just means slow person or something. Wait, somebody said nah. Okay. There was that one. There were just a couple of weird words I'm trying to think of what else. I never heard Shylock in my life. I mean, except for when we read The Merchant of Venice. Gypsy, yeah, but everybody hates gypsies. My grandma said colored, but I learned that colored was probably not okay. Fuck, I feel like there was one more random word that would be said. And I didn't even realize that this is like a racial thing. Yeah, I don't know, but like chink. I feel like that's popular enough in the U.S. that you would know, but maybe young kids wouldn't. I don't know.
Was embarrassed. I, of course, immediately deleted the post. I was apologetic, and I educated not only myself on the true meaning and history of the word, but also anyone around me who was accidentally holding space for this slur. When this person did message me, which I'm so grateful that she did, I had a good conversation with her about it. I made the correction immediately. The word was immediately removed from my vocabulary. And I think right now there are tons of things floating around, different screenshots with different timestamps, and fueling this narrative that I sort of doubled down once people tried to correct me and was like, oh, like, I don't know, I'm still gonna use it. But that was not the case. Like, the truth is that in that moment, the lesson was learned, the word was removed, and it was a true learning moment for me. And I think since that moment, I've done so much growing as an individual, and I've tried my best to educate others who might be accidentally holding space for these types of words that could be offensive in their vocabulary. I completely agree with the network's decision to remove me from the villa. I think that this is something that deserves punishment, and punishment has absolutely been received for sure. I think the backlash has obviously been very hard to deal with, but I understand.
Like, why? What, like, just assuming she legitimately didn't know, which I feel like that's insane that she would know that that's like a racially oriented slur word, and she would just post it publicly and not even think. Like, my assumption, she must not have known. There's just no way. That just seems insane to me. But she could be really stupid as possible, but...
And that people are kind of confused on why I would have even said it or why I would have been doubling down and continuing to use it. So I understand where the hate is coming from. And, I can do my best to drown out the noise and pay attention to the truth. But what's been extremely, extremely difficult is the way people are approaching my family and my loved ones. They have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home. I'm receiving death threats. There's no need to fight hate with hate. I don't think that that's justice. And if you want to know that you were heard and that I'm sorry and that I will move differently, I promise you that's what will happen. I know that no apology could ever be enough for the harm that I've caused and the offense that's taken place. I know that moving forward.
Oh, I feel like we did have that. Indian giver. Is that what they would call somebody when you'd give something and then you'd ask for it back? Where did I hear that from? You're an Indian giver. Did my grandma say that, or was this like in school? I feel like that's the thing I've heard before. But I haven't heard that in a long time. I haven't heard that in decades. That's a Seinfeld bit? No, but I feel like I've heard that, like when I was a kid, I feel like people used to say things like that. Like if you give a toy to somebody and then you want it back immediately, or if you give a gift and you ask for it back because you actually want it or something. Love Island is very fan-oriented, so the producers probably just didn't want backlash.
My actions and how I decide to live my life from here on out is going to speak louder than any apology ever could. But I do need it to be known that I am sorry and I did mean no harm. And hopefully there are people out there that can use my mistake as a learning moment and to just be better, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take today and tomorrow and I'm going to take strides to be better. And all I can ask for is, even if you won't give me forgiveness, if you can just allow me to grow with grace. And hopefully, instead of sitting here and trying to convince you that I am this amazing person who spreads light in the world and celebrates cultures and dynamics and backgrounds, then one day you can see that from me. I'm deeply sorry again, and I thank anyone who's listening.
People called ICE on her parents? People in here seem to think that she did okay responding to that one person, I guess. Yeah, well, I thought people on these reality TV shows are supposed to be fucking retarded. I feel like that was about as good of a PR statement you could give for an apology. Although she didn't play any instruments, so. Wait, how real is this? Statement from Chairman of the Board of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, on reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I'm encouraged by reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I think this will be the right direction for America and the economy will boom. Wait, no way, right? That X account is bullshit. Pulte, that guy's a GME retard. Okay, I don't know. Thieves with fake guns versus security with real guns. Wait, did somebody get shot in this? Two guys jump behind the counter. Oh, security comes in. That dude's gun sounds pretty real. Oh, he shot him. He said it's fake. Security guy goes, oh well.
Yeah, that boy. Boy, out there. It's fake. It's fake. Oh well. That's not. Get up. All right. Up. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Call 911. Hot shot. Oh, fuck this. Oh, all right. Put your hands behind your back. I was gonna fly. Fuck. Fuck.
Your AFK screen has audio, right? That's fine. Security guy hops over the counter.
Yeah, homie. Get on the ground. I'm the fucking guy here right now. Wrong one.
All right. Well. Damn.
Familiar with Los Angeles, but I'm actually on the 110, literally about 5 miles from downtown. Where the fuck are the cars? I almost felt like it was a Sunday. Where the hell? Holy shit. Look at this. You know what, Trump? It's working, brother. Please keep working. Work harder this time. I mean, I know you've been working pretty damn hard, and we love you for it, by the way. But good God, there's no more traffic in Los Angeles. Yay! I don't know if anybody...
They did it. It was all the illegals that were driving. Explain how this is possible? I don't know what the fuck is going on in LA right now. I don't think I drove on the... I feel like I spent more time on the 5 and the 105. I don't know how much it was on the 110. From like Glendale to Santa Monica, or from Culver City to Venice, or going north to like Malibu or Calabasas. I don't know. Is any of that on the 110? I'm not sure. Why is that guy driving in the 3rd lane? Inside cities in the United States, nobody uses the interstate properly. Everybody just drives in whatever lane is, whatever the fuck they feel like it. What's he doing wrong here? I mean, theoretically, you should only be in the middle or left lane, I guess, if you're passing somebody, but I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. Who the fuck cares? If you're inside cities, like, people just drive in whatever the fuck lane. I've driven through LA on the 110 without ever hitting the brakes if I time it right. Okay.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Air Marshal.
Watch an air marshal break protocol by revealing his identity to stop a suspicious man rummaging through compartments. only to discover he's an undercover FAA inspector doing a covert security test under FAA Order 8200.1. Air marshals can't reveal themselves except in real emergencies. This backfires fast. You won't believe who's really in charge.
Hey, what are you over here doing?
Oh, doing nothing. I'm just looking around. What you doing?
Just looking around? I don't know, looking pretty suspicious there. Just going through all the apartments and checking everything, putting your...
Isn't this the stage channel? This is all fake. Okay. Tariff in Canada, 35%. Based. Brazil, 50%, in part due to trial of ally Jair Bolsonaro. I don't know how to pronounce his name. How do you pronounce his first name? Jair? Bongino has told people he's considering resigning amid Epstein files fallout. Oh fuck! I predicted yesterday on the show I was on that nobody would resign over this. Oh no. He did not come to work Friday, fueling speculation that he had quit over the issue. Uh-oh. What is a referral to magistrate judge maybe your court case? That the secondary judge can make a decision on something, since the primary judge is apparently... I'm guessing it means they're like busy or something? If they're referring it to the magistrate
You
judge?
voted for this. I'm like, people that like, they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. People that like, they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like,
If only there was some way to know. If only there was some possible way that you could have known what was going to happen. The secret to his tariff formula.
Can you explain how you calculated your latest round of tariffs? Was there a formula that was used? And do you expect any of these countries to face tariffs as well?
The formula was a formula based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years, and based on raw numbers. And we're going to have a couple of more coming out today. Brazil, as an example, has been not good to us, not good at all. We're going to be releasing a Brazil number, I think, later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning. But they're based on very substantial facts and also past history. Look at the past history. We never had anybody in the White House that understood the numbers or were into it like I have. You know, we've taken...
Sir, can you explain how you...
Like, you will never be able to argue that Trump is going senile, because he will never sound dumber than this. It's not possible. Like, what could he possibly say that would be dumber than this? Like, what, other than, I guess, forgetting I can't even say forgetting English because he doesn't even really speak English. He uses some like Trump modified version where every single adjective becomes awesome or best you've ever seen or Jesus.
What we're seeing. But the second, and they'll just eat the cost, and that's what we're seeing. But the second thing that we're seeing is, so why is it the prices are even going down for imported goods? It's because President Trump has highlighted how important it is for all of us to believe in an America First agenda. And America First means that if you buy American products, then you're helping yourself by getting a better product, but you're also helping American communities for the people who make those products. And so I think that the demand for imported goods has gone down because the president has convinced people of the benefits of buying American.
That demand is a fascinating answer as to why,
and they'll just eat the cost, and that's what we're seeing. But the second thing that we're seeing,
I watched a little bit of the cabinet meeting this week, and I saw Secretary Bessent speaking very glowingly about the projection is $300 billion in tariff revenue this year. Well, tariffs are a tax, and American importers and businesses and ultimately consumers pay almost all of that. And so literally a week after we managed to extend the Trump-Pence tax cuts and prevent a $2,000 tax increase on working families, the administration is right now boasting of the fact that that the average American household is going to see about $3,000 increase in the cost of goods because we're paying that. So that's why I referred to Liberation Day. I said could well be the largest peacetime tax hike in American history. I watched.
Florida County approves stretch of Southern Boulevard to be called President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. Wow. To honor 3 deputies who were recently killed on that part of the road. Does that honor the deputy? Were the deputies named Donald J. and Trump? What? Okay.
Announced it.
Don't understand you. I don't understand the lack of compassion, the heartlessness, the lack of any kind of dignity, love, thoughts, prayers, a dollar, lend a hand, donate something, contribute, show up and help from your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Yes, you're on vacation with your family. Good for you, because you worked tirelessly for weeks, if not months, on that big, beautiful bill. And not a single one of the same Democrats now attacking you and President Trump dared vote for that bill that would help. And so the lies have to stop, but the sheer lack of compassion and heartlessness is something I just cannot abide, acknowledge, and accept.
Wow. So brave. I saw this. The DOJ is now criminally investigating former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey for probing Russia's 2016 election interference and its connection to Donald Trump. It's so unhinged. I was so wrong when I said I don't think Trump is going to actually like investigate old people because he doesn't have the attention span for it. Woo! He's vindictive as fuck.
Well, now there's this. The FBI has launched criminal investigations into former FBI Director James Comey and the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. Justice Department sources tell Fox News Digital the probes are related to potential wrongdoing related to the Trump-Russia investigation. That includes allegations of making false statements to Congress.
James Comer was inside O'Connor's testimony.
This guy is one of the most disgusting Americans to ever live. Don't ever forget it.
James Comer was inside.
Why is Trump mad at Comey? Didn't Comey literally campaign against Clinton in 2016 as FBI director? Campaign against her? No, he probably fucked her shit up. But it's because Comey, it's not enough to do some good things. You have to be a complete and total cult worshiper sycophant, right? Thank Hassan, thank lefties, thank Trump, thank MAGA. It's all the same shit. The problem with Comey is he asked Comey to kill the investigation into his him and the people around him, the election people, not his cabinet, but what do you call the the people that were helping run his like campaign stuff, all the election Russia interference stuff, his campaign stuff, yeah, and the and Comey wouldn't do it. That's why he fired Comey, right? It's because Comey wouldn't kill the investigation.
O'Connor's testimony, and he joins me now. All right, so Congressman, you know, they're going to say doctor-patient relationship is sacred. They're going to say executive privilege. What do you say to that?
Well, there was nothing asked in the beginning that would pertain to doctor-patient relationship. This was a question, were you ever told to falsify medical documents for the President of the United States? And he pled the fifth. And then we asked the question, did you ever doubt his mental capacity to fulfill the duties of the presidency?
How is mental capacity not a doctor question? Also, this is all for show, right? He knows that this is a question relating to patient-doctor confidentiality. Also, remember, as of right now, Trump has literally answered 0 questions under oath, done 0 testimony, done 0 anything. Trump has dodged and eluded fucking everything with regards to being held responsible for any of his lawless actions.
And again, he pled the fifth. The only thing he answered was his name. The lawyers made clear he wasn't going to answer any questions, and he knew what we were going to ask him. All the questions you mentioned in the monologue, those were questions we prepared to ask. The witness, Dr. O'Connor, clearly wasn't going to answer any questions. You plead the fifth usually when you have criminal liability. Everyone in America knows that Joe Biden was deteriorating rapidly during that last year in the White House, and our investigation centers around the illegal use of the auto pen that was used to sign executive orders and pardons.
Also, keep in mind, we know for a fact that Trump's doctor lies about his medical reports. We all know this motherfucker isn't, what did he say, 210 pounds with perfect blood pressure? But
the auto pen was used, we now know, on days when Joe Biden was in the White House. He couldn't even get him to sign his name. So it begs the question, did he even know what his name was being signed on? And that's the purpose of the investigation. So the doctor's not going to be cooperative. We hope that the next 9 people that we have identified and dates set to bring in will be more forthcoming, like Neera Tanden was. We're going to bring in that inner circle. And one thing, Jesse, that's very clear thus far in this investigation, there were very, very few people in the White House who were allowed to be around Joe Biden.
So let me ask you what the next step is, Mr. Comer. Are you able to subpoena the medical reports, his notes? If he refuses to testify, I mean, can you bring him in again? What is the next step?
Well, the next step is we're going to bring in the inner circle. Again, this is an investigation.
Right, but with O'Connor specifically, because they drag this out. You know how they drag it out. I mean, is he just going to disappear?
It's so funny he didn't answer the subpoena question, because you would have to, my guess is this is stuff that you would have to get a judge to sign up on. You can't just like request the info. You'd have to compel them to provide the info. No hospital or whatever is going to provide it willingly. So you'd need like I don't know if it would be called a subpoena or just a warrant. You need like a subpoena with like a judge compelling you to cooperate. Otherwise, you'd be held with contempt or whatever. Or maybe subpoenas in criminal investigations are by default like that. Maybe a criminal subpoena is different, but there's no shot that.
Well, we're going to try to get every bit of information we have. What we're finding in the Biden administration is they didn't leave very many records behind when they walked out that door. There are so many instances of documents that we've been waiting to request, and now the Trump administration's in office and they can't find the records. But we're going to try to get those medical records. We're going to try to do everything we can. We're going to use every tool that we have to try to get that information. But we're going to proceed with this investigation, and we're moving very rapidly for a congressional investigation. We have 9 more interviews and depositions set up, and I think we'll get some clear answers as to who authorized the use of the auto pen and whether or not Joe Biden was mentally fit.
Are you suggesting that perhaps that the doctor or Biden aides absconded with documents or destroyed documents?
Well, we've seen a pattern in the Biden administration where they didn't leave very many documents behind. If I were Dr. O'Connor, I would want to come clean. I would want to defend my medical reputation. But remember, Jesse, one thing that's not been mentioned, we found Dr. O'Connor in the Biden influence peddling investigation. He was in a deal in a shady domestic scheme with Jim Biden. So not only was he the Biden's White House physician and a friend, a family friend, he was also a business partner in some of these schemes that the Bidens used to profit. These schemes
that they tried to investigate for years and years and never found fucking any criminal behavior in, by the way. That like fat fucking losers like this guy, who we pray to God that there's a shortage on Ozempic and he dies when his blood turns into fucking sludge, all right? That this fucking loser, spent so much time harping about and investigating and subpoenaing and bringing in people to ask questions about. When Hunter Biden showed up to answer questions publicly, they didn't want him to. They kicked him out. They said, we'd arrest you. We're not going to do anything publicly. He's such an actual subhuman fucking piece of shit.
Domestic and foreign schemes. So this guy's got all sorts of liability. I'm not surprised he pled the fifth, but I'm glad the American people see that there's a cover up here and they're not wanting to go on record.
All right. Comer, thank you so much. Great job today. Click here to subscribe to the Fox.
Well, Why do people care about AutoPen? It's just another thing to try to attack the legacy of the prior president, and then to try to maybe they want to try to say none of his executive orders were legitimate. It's just one conspiracy after another. Remember, when you're a fucking retard and don't understand how anything works, everything is a conspiracy. So for these people, the goal is to always just make every single fucking thing a conspiracy for MAGA dipshits to slurp up while all their children die of fucking measles, floods, and school shooters.
Well, this is a tough one. And
great point. Got him.
Thousands of people on the right are calling me a predator and telling me to myself after sticking up for children's safety when talking to a husband and wife who think parents have the right to exploit their children. You're in for a wild ride today.
What is up with the cut on this?
Okay, let's talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and play you a clip of me talking to the husband and wife so you could hear what they had to say. And then we'll try to figure out why thousands of people are calling me the predator. And at the start of the conversation, the very first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the changing rooms of these teens. And what was your first response to that?
Did the parents give consent? Did they allow it?
Precisely. I don't think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be on.
You don't think, or that's the law? There's a difference. What's the law?
Wait, are you? So no, that's actually not the law.
What is the law, Dean? What is the age of consent? What is the law?
We're talking about teenagers under 18 here.
Right, and they don't have the legal authority to make that consent. So whose responsibility is it then?
Age of consent, I don't think is 18. I think it varies from state to state. It could be anywhere from, is it 16 is the lowest or the general one? I don't know what it is in every state. That's a different thing than like federally, like can you record is it child porn or whatever? But
who is it? Is it God? It's not God.
But also, this isn't an age of consent question. None of these kids were getting fucked by Trump, I don't think.
So the child can't consent to sex, and the parent can't consent to the child having sex.
Like, what do we? I don't even know why this is like the subject for this.
So where does the consent fall? Because
nobody.
When you go to the doctor's office, when kids go on field trips, who's signing the papers? Because it's not the child.
In that clip, I said, and I quote, "I don't think a parent can allow their underage teen to be on." And then we heard both the husband.
To be what is he saying? To be perved on, or to be cummed on, or what is getting bleeped here?
Papers, but it's not the child.
In that clip, I said, and I quote, "I don't think a parent can allow their underage teen to be on." And
pooped on, pissed on, preyed on, peeped on? Why is this word censored? Perved on? Why is that okay?
Then we heard both the husband and wife argue that I'm wrong, and that consent falls on the parent. But it gets even worse, because now you're about to hear a clip of the wife argue that an older man exploiting a teenager is a business transaction that benefits both parties.
From my research, it was more transactional than anything. If anything, because these girls are competing against each other, they went to Donald Trump when he was back there to get some sort of not promotion, but like to get some sort of like feedback and transactional advice from the guy because he's a businessman.
They're children. They can't consent to that.
Dean.
And now the husband hops in. And
wait, the problem is, transactional advice for what? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, the problem is you need to know, like, what the fuck is it? Are we talking about Trump is going back, and they're, like, getting dressed into different outfits, and they're like, do you think this outfit looks better or this outfit looks better? Or is it going back there, and some 13-year-old girl is like, do you think I should shave my pussy or wax? Like, what exactly are we talking about here? I feel like you need to get into the specifics of what the fuck is going on. I would hope... Now, I guess I don't know for a fact, but I would hope that the parents aren't saying like, oh yeah, if Trump wants to do the prepubescent pussy inspection, then we're totally okay with that. It sounds like they're more talking about, is he okay signing off on certain uniforms or outfits or whatever, but I can't tell because of the way that this is cut. Is there like an original VOD? Do I care about this? Is there an original VOD to this?
And challenges the idea that treating the bodies of young people as transactions is exploitation. She's saying that the bodies of children are transactional.
Dean, answer the question. By law, is that exploitation?
I think that is exploitation, yeah. And now somebody on the call is about to bring up Brooke Shields, who's made to pose in front of a camera without one of these on when she was this many years old. And the husband once again challenges the notion that was exploitation, as well as we hear some other crazy stuff.
And she posed on a Calvin Klein poster underage? Was she exploited?
Yes.
By what law?
We're talking about some underage teenager with a boob out in Times Square. Exploitation. She's exploited.
And do you think that's law?
Do you guys disagree? Like, a teenager with a boobs out on Times Square, was she exploited?
Yes. Boobs out like cleavage or boobs out like nips? I don't know what we're talking. I don't know.
I think it's art. I think it's a beautiful photo.
Now they're calling it beautiful. In the beginning of this video, when I said that there's thousands of people on the right calling me a predator, I wasn't lying. There's many people on this platform and others saying that I doxed an innocent father that simply said kids can't consent. And to respond to the first half of that claim, saying that he was doxed, that's also not true. I told the people watching my conversations with this guest live to take his public information privately to his local CPS authorities, even explicitly stating to not post it on the internet. And I didn't do this with an intention of malice or harm, but rather because of a potential concern of the safety of children. These are genuine red flags. But here's what I will say. Regardless of everything I've just shared, that shouldn't have been my reaction. I shouldn't have directed my fan base to do that. And for that, I take accountability. There was around 1,000,000,001 ways to better respond to that, and I dropped the ball.
Okay, based.
Data shows the next
as to how many people are going to lose their health care based upon this. For the fun half, I think we'll probably put that on pause.
Oh,
the fun half.
Jesus. We need to have a chat about how 1 in 20 of you like this reply. Hassan, Twitter, and the online left journal is dominated by cis white voices. Shonda Black talked about this today on stream, reacting to FT's video on the left, learning nothing from Bernie Sanders. So Hassan said the T slur on stream yesterday, and no one said anything. What did Hassan say?
This is filed. The Department of Justice has filed suit. Going into the replies and seeing the big bad tranny rhetoric is not working on the right wingers is on the Department.
Oh my God, who the fucking cares? Holy shit. You're allowed to talk about it. I just chose not to because it's not something I want to occupy my brain with. About Ludwig's statements? Who's okay. I have no idea what this game is about. Horse girls? Base. What? This is how Colombia's contemporary civilization course ends. A nice illustration of the lopsidedness of almost all humanities curricula, promising a wide range of perspectives. This doesn't even look like the full list. I don't care about this. Don't know. Oh, he linked it at least. I almost thought that was Hassan for a second. Holy shit. Plato, Aristotle, Epicurus, I don't know. The Bible. What? The Bible? Well, I mean, this looks like a broad range of stuff, no? Wait, did I click the wrong thing? Wait, I don't... Oh, he just he clipped literally the bottom part right here. What? We're just ignoring all of this? They got Adam Smith, the king circle jerk of capitalism and all that shit? What do you mean? Marx, Nietzsche, Freud, Dubois. He did say the end in the tweet. This is how Columbia's contemporary civilization course ends. A nice illustration of the lopsided. Well, it's still a stupid. Why would you just include those one screenshot? I don't know. Okay, whatever. Jesus. Russia hacking video. Released 7 hours ago. I need to finish this fucking COVID shit, okay? Here. Have a short.
This episode of Real Engineering is
Real Engineering Gamer. I'll be back 1 sec.
Brought to you by Skillshare, home to over 20,000 classes that could teach you a new life skill. As the world grapples to eliminate fossil fuels from our energy diet, electric cars have seen an incredible boom over the past few years. Last year, over 1 million electric cars were sold around the world. The number of Nissan Leafs, Teslas and other electric vehicles in circulation worldwide is now more than 3 million. And while there are many brands of electric car to choose from, there are only two choices when it comes to powering electric vehicles: fuel cells or batteries. Both produce electricity to drive electric motors, eliminating the pollution and inefficiencies of the fossil fuel-powered internal combustion engine. Both hydrogen and electricity for batteries can be produced from low or zero carbon sources, including renewable energy like solar and wind, and therefore both are being pursued by car manufacturers and researchers as the possible future of electric vehicles. However, a great debate is being waged by supporters of each technology. Elon Musk has called hydrogen fuel cell technology incredibly dumb, claiming they're more of a marketing ploy for automakers than a long-term solution. In contrast, Japan has announced its intention to become the world's first hydrogen society, with the Japanese government and the auto industry working together to introduce 160 hydrogen stations and 40,000 fuel cell vehicles by March 2021. So, which is actually better? At first glance, hydrogen seems like an extremely clever way to power a car. Compressed hydrogen has a specific energy of nearly 40,000 watt-hours per kilogram. Lithium-ion batteries, at best, have a specific energy of just 278 watt-hours per kilogram, but most fall around 167. That's 236 times as much energy per kilogram for hydrogen. And because of its energy density and lightweight nature, compressed hydrogen and fuel cells can power cars for extended ranges without adding much weight, which, as we saw in our last video, is a gigantic roadblock for incorporating the technology into the aviation industry. The designers of electric vehicles are caught in a catch-22 with energy density and range. Each extra kilogram of battery weight to increase range requires extra structural weight, heavier brakes, a higher torque motor, and in turn, more batteries to carry around this extra mass. This weight compounding limits how far a battery-powered vehicle can travel, until new technology can help reduce the weight of the batteries. For hydrogen vehicles, this weight compounding is not an issue. Additionally, a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle can be refueled in under 5 minutes, where a battery-powered electric vehicle like a Tesla Model S takes over 3 hours to fully recharge. When looking at the range and refuel times hydrogen can offer, you can see why some car manufacturers are investing in this technology. On the face of it, hydrogen is a clear winner, but it falls behind when we start considering the end-to-end production process. While both batteries and hydrogen fuel cells are both forms of electricity storage, the costs differ drastically. Fully charging a Tesla Model 3 with a 75 kilowatt-hour battery costs between $10 and $12 depending where you live. With a rated range of 500 kilometers, that's between 2 and 2.4 cents per kilometer. A great price. In a previous video, I visited a petrol station that introduced a hydrogen pump, fed by its own on-site production facility, which used off-peak electricity to produce hydrogen. The hydrogen from this station cost $85 to fill a 5-kilogram tank of the Toyota Mirai on site, which had a range of 480 kilometers. That's 17.7 cents per kilometer, 8 times the price. And here lies the problem. Hydrogen simply requires more energy to produce. To understand the economic viability of hydrogen, let's dig deeper into the production process. Before any hydrogen vehicle can hit the road, you first need to produce the hydrogen. But hydrogen is not a readily available energy source. Even though hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, it is usually stored in water, hydrocarbons such as methane, and other organic matter. One of the challenges of using hydrogen as an energy storage mechanism comes from being able to efficiently extract it from these compounds. In the United States, the majority of hydrogen is produced through a process called steam reforming. Steam reforming is the process of combining high-temperature steam with natural gas to extract hydrogen. While steam reforming is the most common method of industrial hydrogen production, it requires a good deal of heat and is wildly inefficient. Hydrogen produced by steam reforming actually has less energy than the natural gas that the steam reforming began with. And while hydrogen fuel cells themselves don't produce pollution, this process does. So if we want to assume a future scenario with as little carbon emission as possible, this method won't cut it. Another method to produce hydrogen is electrolysis, separating the hydrogen out of water using an electric current. While the electricity needed for this process can be provided by renewable sources, it requires more energy input than steam reforming. You end up losing 30% of the energy from the original energy you put in from the renewables when you carry out electrolysis. So we are sitting at 70% energy efficiency from hydrogen fuel cells if traditional electrolysis is used before the car even starts its engine. A slightly more efficient method of producing hydrogen is polymer exchange membrane electrolysis. Using this method, energy efficiencies can reach up to 80%, with the added benefit of being produced on site, which we will get to in a moment. But this is still a 20% loss of energy from the original electricity from the renewables. Some experts say the efficiency of PEM electrolysis is expected to reach 82 to 86% before 2030, which is a great improvement, but still well short of the battery's charging efficiency at 99%. A 19% difference in production costs doesn't explain the difference in costs yet, so where else are we losing energy? The next hurdle in getting hydrogen fuel cell vehicles on the road is the transport and storage of the pure hydrogen. If we assume the hydrogen is produced on site, like it was for this petrol station, then we eliminate one energy sink. But the cost of storage is just as problematic. Hydrogen is extremely low density as a gas and liquid, and so in order to achieve adequate energy density, we have to increase its actual density. We can do this in two ways. We can compress the hydrogen to 790 times atmospheric pressure, but that takes energy, about 13% of the total energy content of the hydrogen itself. Alternatively, we can turn hydrogen into liquid cryogenically. The advantage of hydrogen liquefaction is that a cryogenic hydrogen tank is much lighter than a tank that can hold pressurized hydrogen. But again, hydrogen's physical properties means hydrogen is harder to liquefy than any other gas except helium. Hydrogen is liquefied by reducing its temperature to minus 250 degrees Celsius, with an efficiency loss of 40% once you factor in the added weight of the refrigerators and the refrigeration itself, so pressurization is a better option at a 13% energy loss. Once the hydrogen is produced and compressed to a liquid or gas, a viable hydrogen infrastructure requires that hydrogen be able to be delivered from where it's produced to the point of end use, such as a vehicle refueling station. Where the hydrogen is produced can have a big impact on the cost and best method of delivery. For example, a large, centrally located hydrogen production facility can produce hydrogen at a lower cost because it is producing more, but it costs more to deliver the hydrogen because the point of use is further away. In comparison, distributed production facilities produce hydrogen on site, so delivery costs are relatively low, but the cost to produce the hydrogen is likely to be higher because the production volumes are less. While there are some small-scale, on-site hydrogen production facilities being installed at refueling pumps, such as the station mentioned in my last hydrogen video, until this infrastructure is widespread, we have to assume that the majority of hydrogen is being transported by truck or pipeline, where we know that the energy losses can range from 10% up to 40%. In comparison, assuming that the electricity we use for charging the batteries comes from completely renewable resources, we just have to consider the transmission losses in the grid. Using the United States grid as a reference for typical grid losses, the average loss is only 5%. So in the best case scenario for hydrogen, using the most efficient means of production and transport, we lose 20% of energy during PEM electrolysis and around 13% for compression and storage, amounting to a 33% loss. In other systems, this could be as much as 56%. For battery power up to this point, we've lost just 6% to the grid and recharging, bringing our best case efficiency difference to 27% and our worst case to 50%. The next stage of powering electric vehicles is what is called the tank-to-wheel conversion efficiency. For hydrogen fuel vehicles, once the hydrogen is in the tank, it must be reconverted into electric power. This is done via a fuel cell, which essentially works like a PEM electrolyzer but in reverse. In a PEM fuel cell, hydrogen gas flows through channels to an anode, where a catalyst causes the hydrogen molecules to separate into protons and electrons. Once again, the membrane only allows protons to pass through it, while electrons flow through an external circuit to the cathode. This flow of electrons is the electricity that is used to power the vehicle's electric motors. If the fuel cell is powered with pure hydrogen, it has the potential to be around 60% efficient, with most of the wasted energy lost to heat. Like hydrogen fuel cells, batteries come with inefficiencies and energy losses. The grid provides AC current while the batteries store the charge in DC. So to convert AC to DC, we need a charger. Using the Tesla Model S as an example, its peak charger efficiency is around 92%. The Tesla Model S runs on AC motors. Therefore, to convert the DC current supplied by the batteries to AC current, an inverter has to be used with an efficiency of roughly 90%. Additionally, lithium-ion batteries can lose energy due to leakage. A good estimate for the charging efficiency of a lithium-ion battery is 90%. All of these factors combined lead to a total efficiency of around 75%. However, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have some of these same inefficiencies. Any kind of electrolysis requires DC current, and therefore a rectifier will be required to convert the AC current from the grid to DC. The conversion efficiency here is 92%. We also need to convert the DC current produced by the fuel cell to AC current to power the motor through an inverter with an efficiency of 90%. Finally, the efficiency of the motor must be considered for both the fuel cell and battery-powered vehicles. Currently, this is around 90 to 95% for both, which is amazing when you consider that internal combustion engines running on petrol have an efficiency of only around 20 to 30%. If we add up all these inefficiencies and compare current generation batteries to the best and worst case scenario for current gen hydrogen, we can see how they measure up. Even with the best case scenario, not taking into account any transport due to on-site production, and assuming very high electrolysis efficiency of 80%, and assuming a high fuel cell efficiency of 80%, hydrogen still comes out at less than half the efficiency. The worst case scenario is even worse off. So while you may be able to go further on one fill-up of hydrogen in your fuel cell vehicle over a battery-powered electric vehicle, the cost that is needed to deliver that one fill-up would be astronomically higher compared to charging batteries due to these energy losses and inefficiencies. Based on our worst case scenario, we could expect the cost per kilometer to be about 3.5 times greater for hydrogen. But
I heard kilometer and then I lost interest. I'm just kidding. Here we go.
As we saw earlier, it's actually 8 times the price. So additional cost of production unrelated to efficiencies are obviously at play. The cost of construction of the facility is one, and the profit the station will take from the sale is another. For now, these inefficiencies and costs are driving the market, where most investment and research is going into battery-powered electric vehicles. So which wins? Both are equally more green than internal combustion engines, assuming equal renewable resources are used to power them. Fuel cells allow for fast fill-up times and long ranges, a big advantage, but battery-powered vehicles might catch up in range by the time there are enough hydrogen stations to make fuel cell vehicles viable. While fuel cells are efficient relative to combustion engines, they are not as efficient as batteries. They may make more sense for operation disconnected from the grid, or as we saw in our last video, using hydrogen for planes actually could make a lot of sense, but once again, that's a topic for another video. For now, battery-powered electric vehicles seem to be the sensible choice going forward in the quest for pollution-free consumer transport. As battery-powered cars become more common, we're also starting to see self-driving cars become the norm. If the job of the driver is slowly automated away and consumers have a bunch of free time to read or watch online video, it may be wise to use that opportunity to start learning new skills, and Skillshare is a great place to do it. You could take this course in Photoshop for beginners and learn a skill that has helped this channel immensely. You may have noticed we introduced a new thumbnail design for the channel. This was done in part because the channel views were trending downwards for the past 2 months, despite putting extra effort into production quality. We needed to rethink our strategy for branding, and I felt the blueprint's strength was that it was easily recognizable as mine, but they also look so similar it's difficult to tell when there is a new video out. So we got to work in Photoshop to use the strengths of the blueprint design and build on its weaknesses, and we came up with this transitioning effect, taking designs to reality, which I think fits perfectly with the theme of the channel. We saw immediate effects with the views on our last video jumping 80% compared to our past 2-month average.
Wow!
This is the power of illustration, and you can learn how to use software like Photoshop and Illustrator on Skillshare. These days you can teach yourself pretty much any skill online, and Skillshare is a fantastic place to do it. With over 20,000 classes ranging from animation, electronics, programming and much more. The classes follow a clear learning curve, so you can just click and watch without having to curate your own learning experience. A premium membership begins around $10 a month for unlimited access to all courses, but the first 1,000 people to sign up with this link will get their first 2 months for free. So ask yourself right now, what skill have you been putting off learning? What project have you been dreaming of completing but you aren't sure if you have the skills to do it? Why not start right now and sign up to Skillshare using the link below to get your first 2 months for free? You've nothing to lose and a valuable life skill to gain. As usual, thanks for watching and thank you to all my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see more from me, the links to my Twitter, Facebook, Discord server, subreddit and Instagram pages are below. I'm about to do a Q&A on the subject matter of this video on my Instagram stories, so if you're interested in having some of your questions answered, the link for that is below.
That's crazy. Okay, wait, so why did, what's the truth about hydrogen cars? Summarize this for me. I'm worried I'm getting sick. I don't think I am. My throat is sore today, though. If I get sick, I'm gonna be super grumpy. And I think I'm supposed to drive to Tampa tonight. Old video. What, did hydrogen change since the video came out? It became unstable? Unstable or unreactive? Uh-oh.